If you've launched yourself into a writing project more complicated than, say, something on a post-it note, at some point, and you may be there already, you're going to say, or you're going to hear voices swirling around you, maybe inside your own head, saying, why did I get myself into this? Why did I do this to myself? This is so difficult. This is so challenging. Why am I sitting here in front of this screen or even over a piece of paper, slaving away on this? This is too challenging. It's too cumbersome. It's just too much work. Well, in some ways it is. At least if it's not too much, it's a lot. Writing is challenging. It can be a cumbersome process. It can be a difficult process. It requires a lot of discipline. But the fact is that writing goes back an awful long way in human civilization, human history. In fact, of course, it's the delineation, it's the dividing line between prehistory and our history. So in that sense, it defines very much who we are and what we are. If it's not evolutionarily intrinsic to us, it's certainly culturally part of what we do. It's culturally baked into our bones. So why you chose to write? Well, in large measure, probably because you wanted to, because you judged consciously, perhaps just unconsciously, that it was the best way to communicate what it was that you wanted to communicate, the most humanly natural way that you wanted to communicate your ideas, your thoughts, your creativity. It's difficult to follow that discipline, though, in a world like ours, when there is just such an abundance of other means of communication. Audio means of communication, videos like this one, photographs, all kinds of ways that we can communicate with each other without going through the often difficult discipline of having to sit down and write first. Compounding that are the voices that you're going to hear externally as well as internally. Well, no one reads anymore. Therefore, no one writes anymore. No one needs to write anymore. And if there's ever an excuse that we need to abandon a writing project, that's it. No one's ever going to read this. But actually, if you observe the world, if you go about in the world, you'll see that's not true. If you're on a plane, a train, a boat, or in an automobile, you'll see somebody reading something somewhere, even if they're bent over a screen looking into it. Yeah, they may be playing video games. Yes, they may be watching a video. But chances are they're immersed in some form of text, whether it's an email, whether it's Facebook, whether it's a personal message, whether it's Twitter, whatever it might be, it involves text. Because text and writing and reading are baked into our cultural bones. They define who we are in many ways as human beings. So we do read and we do write. If anything that I've said in this little video resonates with you, chances are you found yourself wanting to reach for a pencil and a post-it note to mark it down, to write it down so that you remember it. You're not going to go through the whole video to find that moment again. You want to make a note of it. The minute you make a note of it, now you're writing. Go on and write. I'm Peter Stockland. Check me out, wordworker.ca.